Salam Sejahtera and welcome to another edition of Perception, where we discuss current issues that are daily topics of concerned discussion among multicultural Malaysians of all walks of life. Ladies and gentlemen, our topic of discussion today is Teachers Cry Foul. And to discuss this issue, we have with us Yang Berhormat Dr. Muhammad Nasir Hashim, who is the Honourable State Assemblyman for Kota Damansara at the Selangor State Assembly, and he's also the Chairman of Parti Socialist Malaysia. YB, on behalf of TV Pass, I thank you for being with us on this edition of Perception. YB, the announcement of a pay rise for the teaching fraternity announced by the UMNO-BN government last month brought cheer to 2,000 principals and senior assistants, whilst the vast majority of 400,000 classroom teachers are still crying foul for being left out. Is there any justification for favouring the school administrators and neglecting the classroom teachers?
I think this basically the system, the capitalist system itself, which carries beyond between workers and management. If you look at the relationship, you see the government as the capitalists, the principals as the managers, the teachers as workers. In this relationship, the teachers or the workers are always being exploited in various ways. Yeah, and this is the thing that we see it's happening all over. Therefore, nothing new, but we are saying basically is that the teachers should have got this simply because they are directly connected to the pupils, and they are the one who can make the difference, and we have not appreciated that. Okay? So for us, if ever there's pay rise, they should be the one given. Frankly, you don't need principals and the assistant to run the school. You can get the teachers as a committee to run school, meaning that you don't need them, but you need the teachers to run the show. So where is our priority? But this is the priority which we see between the rich and the poor. So it's nothing new, but we must change it. It's like, if you ask me, it's not fine-tuning. We have to overhaul the system. That's how we see it.
YB, the decision to reward the administrators and to neglect the classroom teachers is viewed by the teaching fraternity as cronyistic, or the deep-rooted culture of UMNO-BN, where leaders and administrators always get the cheese, while those below them have to be grateful for the crumbs they get. What is your opinion of the frustration of teachers?
You see, that's why I always like to see the analogy. I see the management as the dictators. All over the world, the West countries always nurture capitalists. Nurture these dictators, simply because if you can control the dictators, you can control the rakyat or the teachers. And you know, in the past, whether you look in the internet or you hear from your children or friends, the headmasters, the principals, are actually little Napoleon, running the show, using the whip, and the teachers are slaves. They have to be involved in the carnival, in sports, physically involved, you know, and they have to give extra classes. They come home late, but we do not appreciate them. Just like the workers, we consider the workers as the backbone of the national economy. We do not appreciate them except on Teachers' Day or on May Day. Other than that, they're left on their own, and they suffer. So this is the thing where I don't understand. You know, you breed dictators to control, but you're also splitting the community, the rich and the poor, and suddenly the principals, it's like they have their own club, you know, of their own. So this is where the danger comes, and they're side by side, you know, in the same school. So why you make the discrimination? Maybe because election is coming. Maybe they know the principal can control the teachers. Maybe the teachers will follow what the principals have to say. Maybe most of the time The principals are very pro-government, so you compensate by giving them a lot of goodies, carrots. So this is what, to me, is happening because of election, because they can control. And they have done that to many other organizations, unions. You control the leaders, the followers tend to follow, because the teachers are also being, in a way, threatened. You try to be funny, transfer you out. And they have already established themselves around that area, school, families or children going to school. That is a big threat. That's frightening for them, where they have to be posted elsewhere. And yes, this is basically cronies. Yeah. And they have to nurture it by force of consent. Force, you ugot, you threaten. Consent, the carrot. You be good to me, I'll give you something. Some be good to you but never get anything. But the idea, that perception that if you do good to them, you get something, and you live into that kind of khayal, or what you call expectation, which never come true.
But YB, there's a greater evil here. Does not this cronyistic increments worsen the already widening income disparity in Malaysia?
It is. Recently, United Nations data, what they call Gini coefficient, to see the gap between the rich and the poor. In Malaysia is number 1 in Southeast Asia, number 2 in Asia, behind Papua New Guinea, meaning that the rich are very rich and the poor are very poor in Malaysia. Can you imagine? And we don't have minimum wage. Can you imagine during economic crisis, the teachers are affected? Because, you have a small minimum wage, you do overtime, you get extra. During economic crisis, you don't have overtime. How are they going to pay back their loans? And then they go to Along, they get into trouble further. In fact, we have gone to Bank Negara, we have gone to the Prime Minister's Department to say to take over or freeze loans and all that until things get better. I didn't see anything happening, actually. So the rich getting richer, poor getting poorer is a reality in Malaysia. I would expect that the neighboring countries, our neighboring countries, it's us. Number 1, Southeast Asia, the gap between rich and poor. So if we're talking about this gap, and we are talking about per capita income, in an island you have 2 people, one has 2 million, the other has none. When you average out, both are millionaires. Yeah, we are rich.
So it's no more a gap, it's actually a gulf.
Yes, I think it's a gulf, is a better word, is a gulf. And nobody is willing to tie it in, simply because in the capitalist system you need the poor. They are your source of profit.
YB, the worst hit in this exercise were the primary school teachers.
Yes.
They were totally left out. It seems that the UMNO BN government does not appreciate or they are not sensitive to the critical role these teachers play in the formative education of children at the early years in school. What is your perception of the matter?
I think the word formative is critical. It is this dialogue or this closeness with the children. Of course, the parents have their own problem. Husband and wife have to work. So sometimes they have to send their children, even they are sick, to school. So teachers have to take care of them. And they are the one who can mold them into good citizens. But they themselves are exploited. So it's a conflict between being exploited and a duty needs to be done. It shouldn't be a conflict. The teachers should be taken care of so that they're happy to help, because it's their job. At the same time, it is their responsibility as teachers and as parents. But it's not happening simply because our attitude. We are what we call crisis-oriented society. When the building crashes, then we have a commission. Children, you don't see the effect until you have problem with the youth, and then you're going to have program. But it may have started from the earlier stage, where if you're giving them values, the spirit of cohesiveness, or cooperativeness, respect, it may not happen.
Yeah.
So we are very crisis-oriented, and it's going on, and the system itself is like that.
But YB, the UMNO BN government, their loud rhetoric is that in all their programs and policies, they are inclusive. Yet this exclusive cronyistic pay rise, is it not another clear-cut example of UMNO BN not walking its talk?
It is true. They call cakap tak serupa bikin. Rhetoric is nice. You don't implement it. We have laws, nobody implement it. Or you create new laws. I mean, the workers' labor laws are actually pressing on the workers. And we've been fighting to prevent it. It is a temporary measure. They'll try to push it. Because they are beholden to the capitalists, beholden to the majikan. Sometimes I think maybe in the past, where these majikan are their source of income for election, for whatever it is. So they are not playing fair. We expected the government to play fair. When the conflict between labor and capital, majikan dengan pekerja, they should balance it. They don't. They took side. That's where the problem. Therefore, the workers are left on their own. So workers have to form union to fight for their rights. And unions sometimes betray them also. So you have the union, the management, and the government against the people, the workers. This is the problem that we face. And they are on their own.
YB, we will take a short break now.
Okay.
To our respected audience, we trust you will be with us after the break when we continue our discussion with Yang Berhormat, Dr. Mohammad Nasir Hashim, on Teachers Cry Foul. Welcome back to Perception. Our topic today is Teachers Cry Foul, and our guest is Yang Berhormat, Dr. Mohammad Nasir Hashim. YB, it is generally perceived among the teaching fraternity that your welfare is determined by armchair administrators who are totally ignorant of the daily challenges in schools. Is this criticism by the teaching fraternity an indication or reflection of how distant the Minister of Education and his top brass officials at the ministry are with the realities on the ground as far as schools are concerned?
I see that as a point of contention. Basically, you find the bureaucrats or the principals, they were teachers before. After a while, they went for programs, they went for training and all that. You reach the stage of a more abstract, intellectual level, where it does not make sense at the local level, because they have lost the salient features of you must be constantly in touch with the students, which the teachers are. So you would be suggesting something that they may not be able to cater for, or you want it so bad that you force them to do it, and they become equivalent to slaves to your beckoning to, and this has happened. As you go higher up, you lose your sense of reality, because you must be in the field. That's the only way that you be constantly in touch with reality. Once you're away, you have meetings, you move around the world, and that you see, suddenly you have an idea, which you should have brought this idea to the teacher and discuss it with them, rather than pouring out instructions. This should be done, follow these procedures. Everything seems to be okay. You have robotized the teachers when it shouldn't be. There is a relationship between teachers and the students, and you cannot monetize it at all. Yeah, but it's not also fair. They work so hard, you do not appreciate them. And small bonuses and all that, they are also suffering. They need those perks also. Yeah, but they're not getting it. How do you feel? You have divided the community of teachers because you think this you can control the principals, who can control the. You may not be so. Teachers have the right to vote. They may choose differently. When you do this, it's not just the teachers. What about their family members? It's a bigger number than just 400,000. So they have made a mistake in that sense. And you favor one, you create a problem. Yeah. And this will be your bulwark.
YB, is it not tragic that there are teachers by the thousands who have clocked in more than 25 years of service and are aging towards retirement, but have been stuck at your maximum salary point for umpteen number of years. How is this possible?
Because the bureaucrats control the whole relationship. You look at the police, you look at the state secretary, you know, that before they retire 1 or 2 years, they promote them. So that when they retire, they are on a different pay scale. Not the teachers who have been there for years, who have done good work, they got all the cemerlang that is needed. They're not getting it because you're not their crony. You are not there. Maybe you have certain principles, but you are sacrificed because of that. So you don't whatever they want. You just fully follow. You question. They don't want that. You just want people to listen and just execute the orders. And this is where that we constantly have a problem. You know.
YB, there is this grouse. It's actually the prevailing perception in the teaching fraternity, where those who are close to the principals and senior assistants invariably get the promotions and the increments, while those who slog their heart and soul out in the classrooms are left out. Is there a remedy for this situation, or is it doomed to get from bad to worse?
I think it's a changing of mindset. Okay, you should revolve around people who are directly involved. If you ask me for teachers, you have to revolve around the teachers, not the principal. Their needs, because they are the one who make the change. What gives quality are the teachers, not the principal. They're just barking out orders. Okay? So basically, we are not giving them their due rights. And in fact, I'm saying basically they are exploiting the teachers because they're doing beyond their teaching jobs, teaching duties. So this is where that. But the issue of crony, favoritism, is also happening in the higher education, in the universities. I've been teaching for over 24 years, 25 years. And those who are close to the top man get promoted, become professors or associate professors. Those who doesn't do that seems to be tagging along. And so you also create, because people want to be promoted, you create a culture where everybody will kowtow. You don't question. You know.
But how compatible is this with the culture of seeking excellence in the profession?
It kills excellence. It promotes chronism, the ampubodic kind of a culture, where that's the only way you can get through. And when they hold the position, they behave the same way because they're not of quality. You know, when this chronism will be created, they don't. That's why it is they are being there because they are people of not good quality. So they compensate by being the cronies of these top people. And if they get promoted, and can you imagine the kind of instruction they would give because they are not of quality. I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but the tendency when you do this kowtowing to big boss, you're not of a good quality person, principally on a matter of principle, matter of your job. That's why you're going another way to get promoted.
YB, compared to the cronyistic increments announced by the UMNO BN government for the teaching fraternity, is it not true that Pakatan Rakyat has a more fair, just and holistic plan for the welfare of the teachers? Could you briefly articulate Pakatan Rakyat's plan for the welfare of the teachers as contained in the Orange Book?
Basically, we are talking about a system which is holistic, menyeluruh, meaning that they are all interconnected at the micro to the macro level. But who are the people that you should be talking to? The rakyat, to people who affect change, to the catalysts. These are the people that we should be moving around to nurture them so that they can do a better job, because they will determine the future of our country. So these are the people that have often been left out. And this is where that our concern is, like for us, workers. I'm saying they are the backbone of the national economy. We don't take care of them. We exploit them because they can't fight back. because they're being coerced, intimidated, and all the nasty things that's happening to them. And not all of them are that brave enough. You're brave enough, you get sacked. Or you're brave enough, you get transferred out where your wife is here, you are somewhere else. It's too frightening when they have a family. And we're not making any. In fact, the Barisan government is condoning it because it's a form of control. The British did that divide and rule using race and religion. We're also doing the same thing. You know, to use these principles as a dictator, to use the whip to go for the teachers, and not all teachers are brave enough because, you know, life. You know, they have big family, children at school and all that. So we can, you know, we have to intervene to prevent this.
YB, what is Pakatan Rakyat's plan for the teachers?
I think Pakatan Rakyat have a lot of respect for teachers. I mean, all since Merdeka, the leaders were former teachers. We know that. But we also know that the teachers are the one who will convey knowledge, convey the form of leadership that is expected of a civilized society. So how do we, no, we promise to give bonus, but we also must go beyond just bonus. Their welfare, their, if you can't give them bonus, can you give them certain other perks so that they feel comfortable although they may not be competitive in terms of income with some private schools, but they get perks like bonus, holidays, on sabbatical leave and all that for them to do their own thing. So this is the other way we can compensate. We can only do that if we have respect for the teachers. You see, do you look upon them as asset or liability? Maybe you see them as liability because you have to pay them. You look at them as asset, you give everything to make sure that our children are being taken care of in terms of education, in terms of critical thinking, in terms of cohesiveness, where our children can also see everything in a more comprehensive, holistic manner.
Do you see this mindset you're talking about taking place under the UMNO BN administration?
It's not happening because UMNO Barisan they are talking about control, about divide and rule to control. There's no such thing about giving due respect and work. We want everything to revolve around people, not around economy. Barisan UMNO is basically everything revolves around economy, around profit. When you do that, then everything below that are being robotized. Teachers, workers. You see, because that's how they handle it, that's how they want to control. So this is our worry. What is the future of our children? The quality of thinking of our children. You know? So, and when you start giving one group more and leaving out the rest, what are you trying to do? You know? So sometimes because you're contradicting yourself because you are so focused to get the principles, you know, to pay them, to give them all the perks, you create a contradiction. And now it is a big contradiction. How are they going to resolve it? Probably before election they say they give it, but where are they going to get the money? But they have already created the damage.
YB, instead of motivating the teachers to excellence, this exercise has demoralized classroom teachers. In fact, it has thrown cold water on the dedication of classroom teachers. How is this going to impact on the commitment and performance of teachers nationwide?
It will have a negative effect. I mean, if you ask me, you just need to change the government so that we can come up with a better solution to that. What we are trying to do is damage control, because it is a culture that have been bringing all the way. Change mindset. We have to start all over again, so that people who we should give due respect, we must give. In terms of all the financial benefits, in terms of all the perks that they should get. That's what we should do. Because if we go on this way, there's no future, because education is so critical. And we just don't want people who are smart, but people who can organize, who can work with people. This is what we actually want, rather than something separate. And this is what we're not getting, because a person who is whole is just not smart. he can organize, he's critical, there's a certain relationship that he creates where he can win people over. So we're not coming was, sometimes we have smart people, they're not good in anything else. No point.
YB, it has been very interesting talking to you. On behalf of TV Pass, I thank you for being with us on this edition of Perception.
Thank you.
To our respected audience, we thank you for being with us throughout this discussion. Wherever you may be, I wish you a pleasant weekend and a productive week ahead. On behalf of the production crew of Perception, until we meet again next week, I wish all Malaysians, Hidup Rakyat, Hidup Pakatan Rakyat.